Hello and welcome to Our Time. For over 40 years, Maiolo has presented and promoted local, interstate and international musical tours and many other diverse performances across multiple genres within Australia and beyond. But here on Our Time, he's the main event. Hello, Maiolo.
Hello, Malcolm. Long time.
It is a long time because I haven't talked to you before on this program.
Right.
And you've been one of the movers and shakers of entertainment here in South Australia for over 40 years.
Yes, actually, this
Where
year
have you
will be
been?
45 years.
Oh, 45.
Yeah, so look, I travel a lot as well. And
Avoiding the police?
not really, but...
Do you know, that's funny. Funny, not that I should say that, but being a promoter is one of the hardest jobs in the world that people don't realise. You're behind all of those glossy things that you see on stage or on the screen, but the person that makes it happen is very rarely acknowledged for what they have to do.
Sure.
And the amount of money you have to put up to make it happen.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've been doing this, it'll be 45 years this year. And yeah, it's a very risky business. When people ask me how difficult it is or how risky it is, I said, have you ever played Russian roulette? Because that's pretty well what it is. You're putting your life out there on the line.
Absolutely.
And, you know, your money especially. And
your reputation. And
your reputation. And you've got to make it happen. Because reputation, as you know, in our industry is everything.
Absolutely. I remember once saying to Michael Edgley, who was probably the most influential person some time ago, bringing over particularly Russian shows. His father started, or mother and father started it, and he took over the company after his father passed. He was about 18 at the time.
That's right.
I said to Michael, you know, how do you make this happen? He said, 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10.
Yep.
6 have got to make money.
6 winners and you can risk 4 losers.
Yes, exactly. So where did all this start for you? Because you're not sort of born to be an entrepreneur.
No, I was a butcher by trade. I did an apprenticeship with Coles in Elizabeth. And I had a couple of shops myself over the years. And then when I was about 27, I sold my businesses and went and did relieving management when butchers would like to go on holidays for 3 or 4 weeks. I'd go and manage their shop.
Right.
And this particular time I was managing a shop in Smithfield, and next to that butcher shop was a post office, and in that post office there was a gentleman called John Ferguson. And being a country town like Smithfield, we all knew one another, and John would come to buy his meat every Friday night. And this particular night he said to me, I'm going to run for the Australian Democrats, and I need a committee.
Whatever happened to them?
Yes. They folded after about 10 years, and he said, I need a committee. He said, I'm struggling to find 10 people. Will you come and help me on and be a committee member? I said, John, I know nothing about politics. You need people who know something about that type of thing.
Talk to me about a leg of lamb. I know about that.
Yeah, talk to me about a leg of lamb or a piece of pork or whatever. Anyhow, I didn't go, but then 2 weeks later he's back. Now he's begging me. So I thought, you know, he's a great guy. He's a good friend of ours. And I said, yeah, look, I'll come along and have a listen. And that's what I did. I went along on a Friday night, had a listen, and before you know it, the end of the meeting comes up and the treasurer there goes, okay, now we talk finance and fundraising. And he said, okay, we've got $250 in the bank. And I thought I was hearing things, and I said, excuse me, John. I said, did you say $250? He says, yes, Mario, why? I said, well, your election is in 8 months. How are you going to run a campaign with $250? He says, well, we can't, Mario. Do you have any ideas? I said, yeah, being cocky Mario, like I was. I said, why don't we run a dinner dance at the local institute? And everybody, you know, there's another 8 people there saying, oh, we can't do that. We'll lose money. We could do it. I said, of course we can. And then they didn't want to do it. So in the end, I said, look, I'll do it. leave it all to me. So that's basically how it all started.
Amazing,
I
isn't it?
ran this dinner dance. I got my mother to do the cooking, my sister to help, you know, out there in the town hall serving people and so forth. And we'll cut the long story short, it was very successful. We got 120 people, that's all it held.
Right.
And
Full house.
yeah, and we made $1,200.
Amazing.
So all of a sudden we got a bit of money. So now I'm getting cockier. I said, oh, John, that's great. I said, but we got to do it bigger and better next time. I know some bands now and some floor show acts. Oh, do you? Yeah, well, where are we going to do it? I said, across the road in the Smithfield Sports Club. Oh, just 300 people. Isn't that too big, mate? No, leave it with me.
Got 120 the first time.
Yes. Anyhow, here we go. We put this thing on. I went out and booked a floor show from an agent at the time called Top Bands here in Adelaide. And I booked a band called Gemini, which I went and had a look at the Elizabeth West Workmen's Club. They were great. So now we've got this show on, floor show, and a band, a professional band. We're big time. So we sold 250 tickets. We made $8,000 that night. So now there's a lot of money to run this campaign. So that's how it all started, really. And from there, I just noticed when I booked this floor show act that on the agent's contract, there was a commission of $50. Now I was earning $40 a week as a butcher. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe I should try this caper. And that's how it all started, Malcolm. I started a company called Vegas Promotions.
And why did you call it Vegas?
Because I've always wanted to go to Las Vegas. I'd read a lot about it and I've seen a few films about it and I thought, wow, this has got to be the most amazing place.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that's why I called it after Vegas, because it's the capital of entertainment in the world.
Well, just jumping ahead though, you then managed to get some Australian shows into Vegas.
Yes, I did. Yeah, what happened was I sold my company after 10 years, Vegas Promotions, and we did well out of that. And I decided to go out and become a concert promoter because I was dabbling at the time, while I had Vegas Promotions, with acts like Barry Crocker, Sandy Scott, Alison Durbin,
and they were all TV people at the time, weren't they?
Yeah, they were
all well known everywhere.
They were our biggest singers and entertainers at the time. And we're talking 1980s now, and they all used to have these amazing gigs, 6-7 times a week they'd work in the Sydney clubs, where there was 400 licensed clubs having entertainment there. So anyhow, I started dabbling a little bit with those acts, Australian acts, and I could see that there's real possibilities here to really make some serious money. So then I decided to go to America and have a look and see if I can bring some artists back. And that's what I did. First one was Neil Sedaka. I brought him back to Australia and he did very well for me.
And you toured him all around the country?
All around the country.
Yep.
Then what happened, I managed a show called Manpower Australia, which is like the Chippendales in America. They're like a burlesque strip show. And I took them around Australia and my God, we were getting 900, 1,000 girls coming to the show. And it was so easy at the actual show on a Friday night, I'd make an announcement, we're full tonight and a lot of people couldn't get in, so we'll be back here in 2 weeks. And just that word of mouth filled us up again the next time. And this was going on all over Australia and New Zealand. So I decided it's time to take them to America. And where best to do it? Las Vegas. And it took me 3 years of backwards and forwards before I got them in. And then finally I struck it with the Stardust Casino.
Yep. Was that, which no longer exists, sadly?
That's right, it's been imploded.
Yes, exactly. And who was playing there at the time?
Wayne Newton.
Right. And he was huge in America.
Massive.
And then there were the two magicians.
There was Secret of Fraud. They were there at the Mirage.
I saw them. Well, I saw them originally at the Stardust.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow, that was before my time here.
Well, the Tigers would come out in the middle of the audience.
That's it.
And we had no idea.
That's right.
Sadly, that would be the end of one of them, one of the Tigers.
So I ended up staying there for 5 years because the show took off so successfully that the management wanted us back the next year. So after the second year, we struck up a 5-year deal, and I was given a penthouse suite because it was the second biggest grossing show in Vegas. And in Vegas, if you make casinos money, you can name whatever you like there, Malcolm. And it was just fabulous. They'd give me 5 restaurants. I could go to any one of them, any bar, whenever I like, everything on the house, and take 6 people with me every night to a restaurant of my choice. And that's how it pretty well started. From there, when I was in Vegas, I met B.B. King.
Yes.
Because he lived in Las Vegas. Right. And I got him to tour Australia.
Right. Because he's
then from there,
sort of a father of rock and roll.
Yeah.
Really.
That's right.
Just hold that thought, because we're going to take a short break.
Sure.
There's so much more to this story. It's fascinating. We'll be back in a tick. Mario Maiolo is our special guest, and in the break, I just said to Mario, working in Vegas, in the days that he was there much mafia around? Then I asked him where his family was from originally, which was?
Southern Italy, in Calabria.
Did that help, the fact you had that family background when you were negotiating with these guys?
Not really, I don't think. I never got to see many of the mafiosis there in Las Vegas. I did go to a few of the hotels, like the Imperial Palace, when they were still there. There was probably about 4 or 5 still left that were run by the mafia. And when I first went there, before I even got a show in there was probably about a dozen. And I mean, believe it or not, the mafia ran the hotel casinos a lot better than the corporate companies are running them today. They had class, they had style, and there was
an expectation, I suppose, of having class and style.
Absolutely.
Even though there was an underbelly going on.
Absolutely there was.
The presentation. But that's show business, isn't it, really? You don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
No. I mean, the difference is now you got to go and buy a ticket, right? Nobody gives you complimentary tickets anymore, even if you're a promoter and going to see a show. Back then, when the mafia was running it, even if you didn't know them, you could give the porter at the front door, the concierge, a $50 tip, and all of a sudden you're at the front in a nice booth, sitting as comfortable as you like, and you're a VIP all of a sudden. Don't tip them, you get the back seat.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's all.
Well, that's America too, isn't it?
That's right, it is. Yeah. Tipping is huge there.
How many people come to you saying, I've got this show and I want you to promote it, or do you find them?
It's a bit of both. I probably get a year about 15, maybe 20 shows sent to me by either email or CD or whatever. But out of those, I'll be lucky to take one.
Right. Are you creating now your own?
I'm creating my own shows now, yeah. I produce
Just name drop a few of the things you've done in the last couple of years, because you've been very proactive through what's been a difficult time after
Absolutely,
COVID.
Yeah. Well, some of the shows, I produced a show called Classic Country Gold with an orchestra. Country music has never performed with orchestras. So I thought, why not take country music to another level? So I put a show on with 4 different artists, performing tributes to Glenn Campbell, John Denver, Patsy Cline and Tammy Wynette, and I put the whole thing together with a 45-piece orchestra. And it was so beautiful, it really was. It just took the whole country scene and the sound to another level.
But playing proper theatres.
That's right.
And that makes a difference.
2,000 capacity theatres like the Festival Theatre. It went to the Sydney Opera House. It went to the Hamer Hall, the Arts Centre in Melbourne, Cooper, all the big major
It really
venues
takes it up a
Australia.
step, doesn't it?
That's right.
Because you've got every facility to make it look and sound great.
Exactly right, yeah. And, I've designed another show called Glory Days, where, tribute bands now are huge because all the artists as we knew them, like you know, Neil Diamond, Gene Pitney's passed away, Petula Clark's retired, Tom Jones retired, Engelbert's retired. You know, a lot of the British acts have all retired, but now the music is still kept alive by these amazing young guys and girls who put on tribute shows and sound and look like them.
Yeah.
In fact, they probably sound better than what the real artist did because of all the, you know,
the new technical stuff.
New technology that we have now. You know,
But also those songs are the soundtrack of our lives.
That's right.
If you're a
they
certain age, and we're of a certain age, 50.
yeah, we'll take that. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know, look at Elvis now since the movie.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, how that has exploded
whole thing,
again with a total new audience. And there's probably about 4,000 Elvis impersonators in the world. You know, I know probably the best 10 because they won the Elvis Presley Enterprise yearly competition, which they have in Memphis at Gracelands, just the theatre next to Gracelands. And they've, you try and book one of the best 10 in the world, you need to book them 2 years in advance. And that's what happens, you know, with the Farnham movie. Now there's people out there doing a John Farnham show. And people come along, they love it. And after about 2 or 3 songs, if they're good voice-wise and look, people just get transformed and it's like they're looking at the real artist. And these young kids are, you know, are keeping all that great music, as I like, real music, as I call it, you know, back from the 40s to the 60s and 70s, they're keeping it all alive.
I guess that's happened though, with every age group. When we look back, it happens in fashion, it happens in music, really happens in everything. The days back then were better than the current days, is perhaps the way of thinking.
Yeah.
And if you've lived through that time, those tunes are in your head or that style of entertainment is in your head.
Sure.
It's really like recapturing your youth, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I went to see a Meatloaf tribute show about a year ago. Now, I toured Meatloaf. I didn't tour him. I brought him to Adelaide because I bought him off another promoter. And this guy doing Meatloaf, oh my God, he can sing as good as Meatloaf could when he didn't lose his voice.
Yep.
Right? And it's mesmerising to see this. There's a Kiss band, which I also brought Kiss to Adelaide, right, travelling around Australia at the moment, and a Creedence band that's selling out concerts, 1,500, 2,000 capacity, you know.
Amazing, isn't it?
And I mean, you know, I had acts like Neil Sedaka, Kenny Rogers and all these people, they would be playing in the same theatres, 2,000 capacity, and yet these tribute bands now can fill those same rooms.
Yeah, so it really is the story of our lives coming back to us.
It is.
Yeah. What do you think the future's going to be?
Well, I think the future as a promoter, as I've known it for the last 45 years, is diminishing. There's very little independent concert promoters left like myself now in Australia. A lot of them unfortunately went under when COVID struck. I mean,
Do you think it was getting tough before that? The internet has changed everything.
It has? No, I didn't find it.
I sound like
as tough before
Meatloaf
that.
suddenly. I've got more than a frog in my throat. I think I've got a fish.
Okay.
And they've left the bones there, I think.
Okay.
No, sorry, you were saying.
That's all right. Where was I? We were talking about, you know, these tribute shows able to perform now in the same venues that the real artists
and
were.
pull the same number of
pull
people.
the same numbers.
But going to where the entertainment industry is going, probably before, COVID had a huge effect, but probably before that, people were becoming much more selective to go out when you've got a big screen TV at home. Same thing sort of happened when TV first started in 1959. But then we had all the international people that were coming all around the world doing the names, many of the names you've mentioned, and they would do the circuit and they'd appear on all the Tonight shows on TV.
That's
and
right.
people would know who they were.
Yep.
You had a much closer relationship with them because there they were on your TV at home.
That's right.
Then colour came and then there was another dip.
Yep.
Then the big screens came, and the big screens really have affected not only the cinemas, but I think they've also affected the live performances, because you can actually see them on screen in your lounge room without bothering to go out.
Yeah, well, what that's done is Netflix now, you can get a current movie almost 3 weeks after it's been at the cinemas.
Yeah.
And people, you know, they got cheap viewing now, and the big screens are almost like being in a theatre, aren't they? And I mean, since COVID come and the Facebook and Instagram, it's changed the whole aspect of how you market a show now. I mean,
and
television,
it's difficult. It's difficult because where do you go to advertise?
That's right. I mean, the newspapers don't have anywhere near the strength that they used to have anymore.
No.
Television is the same. There's so many channels now, and with people streaming, and also they will tape and record a show during the day and watch it at night. They've got everything at their fingertips.
We've got it all in our home, but what you haven't got in your home is that mass thing of being with a whole lot of people, laughing together, experiencing something they love together, like the music. There's nothing like a crowd of people to enjoy something together.
No, it's fabulous. I mean, you know, that's what brings communities together.
Yeah.
And the arts does that.
Yeah.
And it's so important that the governments keep supporting the arts, right, so that they can bring out these lovely musicals that they have all over the world, because it's so important for the young kids and my grandkids. I love taking them to the art shows, musicals, and I took my 2 grandsons to Aladdin. They were mesmerised. They just loved it.
There's nothing like being in the same place and seeing people doing whatever they're doing on a stage in front of you, because it's never going to be quite that same again. It's
No, it
really,
won't.
even though the show might be the same, the audience reactions are always just slightly different. And I speak from real experience, because I love TV, I love what TV can do for us all, but I also love the live stuff as well, because you're up close and personal with the real people, and we're all experiencing this together. And it's so important for people like you to continue, because without people bringing, you know, young blokes, ladies, whoever, bringing in performers from all over the world, it's the only chance we've got to see them live, and it's not the same on the screen ever.
Sure, exactly.
But speaking of being on the screen, we've got to take a short break, and we'll show you a few things that are very important, and we'll be back at it. For 45 years, Maiolo has been producing and presenting entertainment and shows both here in South Australia, but also around the country and actually all over the world. Mario, how many have you produced this year? Tours?
I've produced 8 tours this year nationally.
All around Australia?
Yeah, and probably that's about something in excess of about 140, 150 dates for the year.
Do you travel with everything?
No, I travel with about 20%. I always like to go to the first show.
Okay.
And show my face, you know, and just for the respect of the artist.
And make sure everyone's doing the right thing?
That's right. And then I'll go to the last show.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because people don't really realise that the jobs that are behind the scenes, or how it actually gets to be there.
Sure. Well, you know, I tour production people, sound engineers, lighting engineers with most of my shows. And when I can't go, I put on a tour manager who are very experienced, and they look after the tour on the road for me. And I say, don't call me unless it's an absolute emergency.
So you've got over the fact of having to be there controlling everything.
Yes, I have.
Because
totally.
really, you're sort of like the puppet master in a way.
You are.
Like the performers of the puppets, they know what they look like and what they're supposed to do. But if you don't make all that happen out there...
Yeah, I'm better off while the tour's on, being in the office, right, and making sure that it all goes smoothly,
Booking the
and marketing it
advertising,
from there.
of course.
It's a bit difficult to market things while you're on the road, even though you can in your hotel room. It's not the same. I've got everything at my fingertips in the office.
Yeah.
If I need to do something, I can relate to it and just do it.
You've got it there.
Yeah.
It's great talking to you because you really are one of the, I mean, I don't want to make you sound like you're an old man, but you're one of the last of your breed, I think.
Yes.
Which is a real shame.
Yeah, look, there's not a lot of independent promoters left in Australia. I can count them on two hands now. When I first started, there must have been at least 50, 60, 70, I would imagine. But, you know, over the years, people retire and, you know, it's such a risky business that a lot of people are frightened to get into.
Well, yeah, because you lose money.
Yes, absolutely. Very
And like
easy.
Michael Edgley said, 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10.
Well, I have to be honest, you know, I've had a 95% strike rate.
Well, you're
which
doing
is
well.
pretty amazing.
That is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But it really, it's a tribute to how well you organise things up front.
Thank you.
And there's a little something special that people like you have that can pick what's going to sell.
Yeah, look, you go by your gut feeling,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
you know, and you can get a bit of help by going back and having a look with the headline acts, how many albums they've sold in
Yeah.
Australia and around the world. That
And now
helps
it's
as
all
well.
Facebook friends and all those other
Exactly.
things. Mario, it's been great talking with you. Thanks so much.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you, Malcolm.
It's been my pleasure and hopefully yours. So until next time, keep yourself nice till then. Bye.